So let's go with number 5 on this list.
The Jets.
The Atlanta Falcons.
Ooh,
right?
5.
At number 5. So here's a couple questions you're saying, Nate, that's pretty heavy because the second wide receiver isn't going to put up the same amount of numbers as Julio is. And another question is, who is the second wide receiver? So I'm going with Julio Jones. Sanu. I'm going Mohamed Sanu. Now, let's focus right here on Julio Jones. Now, the reason that they're in my top 5 is because they're anchored by Julio. So you'll see a couple guys on this list where you'll say, Nate, I'm not sure about that number 2 because they're not putting up the same amount of numbers as number 1, but he holds it down with the production that he puts up. 1,400 yards. Now, we want Julio to get in the end zone a little bit more. He only had 6 TDs, but when you're putting up 1,400, I know he's going to get in the end zone a lot more this season. And then Mohamed Sanu, who was brought there to be the number 2. And I kind of tussle with this a little bit because I love Taylor Gabriel, and he's the explosive guy. And the team, they really caught rhythm and fire when he got on the field. But I love Sanu because he's consistent, and he knows his role. He came on the show. He's very calm. He's very comfortable in his own skin. He said, look, I'm just here to make plays. I'm here to be the compliment, and he's going to do that. And this will be his second year in the system, so I'm looking forward to him making more plays. So that right there, my 2 guys on this list. And to be honest, it's mostly because Julio Jones. And you can't be mad at the fact.
I thought this would be 1.
Yeah, you can't be mad at the fact that because of production at 1,400 yards.
Where does he fit in Sark's off? Like, I want to see what they are. I want to see a new one because, I mean, a lot of this is Kyle Shanahan.
A lot of that is going to be up to Sark, the new offensive coordinator, and seeing how they can fit all these playmakers within that system. Number 5.
Who's left?
Number 4, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
With who?
With Antonio Brown.
Okay.
And
Do the right
drum
thing.
roll. Martavis Bryant.
Thank you.
Now listen, that was one of the things that I constantly went over in my head because Martavis, we haven't seen you. You got suspended.
I don't
know what
Has there been footage of Martavis?
I don't know how good
black
you
and
are.
white?
Foot touchdown.
But when he's on the field,
Yes.
in 11 games, he has 6 TDs, put up 800 yards. You know he's going to take the top all the way off the coverage.
He's a 6'4" Deshaun Jackson.
He's a beast. Now, what I do want out of Martavis is to add more tools in that toolbox. I just don't want to see the post and the go route and the double move. I want to see you running more routes. Add a little bit of Antonio Brown's game to your game so you can be more consistent. That way, this list makes more sense for me and that offense becomes more powerful. But this guy right here, Antonio Brown, he is the end-all in the beginning of this offense. He's going to be the go-to guy. It's a constant conversation, right? It's Julio, AB, Julio, AB. They're constantly battling for that number 1 spot. So that's my number 4. Okay? I see you smiling over there.
Would you guys flip him?
I wouldn't. They're not.
All right. Number 3. You ready?
Odell Beckham and Brandon Marshall aren't better than Martavis Bryant?
You ready? You ready for this? I'm just talking about
Antonio
Brown, though. Antonio Brown, his numbers anchor.
Best wide receiver.
Some of these guys are good enough individually that they will anchor their number 2 and say, I'm going to bring you into this top 5.
They have 11 wide receivers in training camp.
Okay, I'm
really
just
like
talking
he's
about
ranking the
AB.
number
All right,
2.
let me get to my list.
I think you're right, 'cause the ones are so good. Go ahead.
3. The Raiders. Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
So this is the list. Now, we're talking about consistency. We're talking about guys coming in and making plays. Amari Cooper came in, and the one thing they were saying across the board, this guy looks like a pro already. He acts like a pro already. He talks like a pro. And then he goes out there and plays like a pro. And then there's rumor that he's gained a little bit of muscle and that he's got faster, stronger. What was it? Derek Carr came out and said he got some dog in him. Like that right there gets me excited. The quiet talker, the guy that's been making plays, Kay. We love some Amari Cooper on the show.
These two have together more catches than any duo in the league.
Latavius Murray thinks Amari Cooper's going to the Hall of Fame. He thinks
year.
he's incredible.
I said it a couple weeks ago. I said if he continues this and he has longevity on his side, he will be a Hall of Famer. And then Crabtree. Crabtree just quietly came back from the ACL and said, hey, guys, remember me? Remember me with all the hype? I'm going to give you all these catches in 8 TDs. He's making plays look so routine that are difficult for every receiver. These guys put up over 2,100 yards. And another reason why I picked them, a lot of this, when you're looking at this list, it's all about the quarterback, right? So you look at the Falcons, Matt Ryan. Look at the Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger. You look at the Raiders, Derek Carr, come on, man, highest paid guy in the league. And they're getting better. You add Marshawn Lynch. That's going to be a benefit to the wide receivers because all of a sudden, if Marshawn Lynch catches a little bit of a rhythm, The defenses that are sitting there, linebackers saying, hey, guys, we got to get up. The safeties and the cornerbacks, now they got to bring a little more pressure. They're stacking the box. If I'm Amari Cooper and Michael Crabtree, I'm looking like this. It's time to eat. You crazy? You give me single coverage because you got to respect beast mode? This is going to mean what? They'll get more yards. They'll get more touchdowns. They'll have more receptions.
It's them and the Giants that are, it's not the 1 and then the 2. It's the 1 and the 1A, right? So that's why I think I would expect the Giants to be higher on your list than you had them.
All right, number 2.
All right.
Who we got?
The New England Patriots.
No.
Julian Edelman and my man Brandon Cooks. Now, there's an argument to be made that Julian is the biggest system guy of all time.
Right.
Why do we keep saying that when he shows up every single regular season and then shows up even bigger in the postseason? Like, when are we going to give this young man respect? Okay, he plays in the slot. Okay, he's tough. Okay, he makes the occasional great catch. But what he has done when healthy has been one of the most consistent receivers since he's been in the league. He's going to anchor it off. Now, for me, I have a special place in my heart because his consistency, it wins me over. Maybe he doesn't give you Julio numbers. Maybe he doesn't wow you with the same amount of highlights. But for a guy to show up every single game as gritty as ever, tough as they come, and make plays for the best quarterback ever, when you are the safety blanket for the best quarterback arguably of all times, then you're going to get my respect. And then Brandon Cooks, they pulled the best receiver from the Saints. I mean, you want to talk about putting up numbers. He's been doing that down in New Orleans. And the question is, can he do that in New England? He could be their most athletic, most impressive route-running wide receiver they've had on the roster since Randy Moss. Have you seen this young man in the slot? Have you seen him on the outside? He can do it all. So now you have that combination with the genius of that offense. Oh, not to mention, they got that one dude, Gronkowski, back, which means Cooks and Edelman are going to see single coverage on a consistent basis.
This isn't a duo. That's the reason I'm saying
no, right?
Make the Voltron of all of those receivers into one, maybe next to Edelman, who gets such a big target share and is so trusted.
Well, listen,
it makes sense. But you've got Hogan and Malcolm Mitchell. You're going to put Brandon Cooks in there. Well, we haven't even seen how he fits
when you combine the numbers with Cooks and Edelman, it's almost 2,300 yards. So for me, a couple of these duos, I had to pick off of potential. I had to go with my gut feeling as a wide receiver. I can't say, look at the numbers, let me break it down, and then there's no argument. Then you're just basically making a list off numbers. I'm telling you what I see as a wide receiver and who's going to be most productive next year.
Before we get to number 1, so you're trying to win games, you're trying to win championships. Do you want Julian Edelman on your team before Odell Beckham Jr.?
It depends on the surrounding pieces, but if I have a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, I'm not mad at that selection. I'm not saying that Julian Edelman is better than Odell. Odell Beckham is supremely athletic. When he goes to athletic ability, he beats Julian Edelman on every category. But if you're talking about consistency, a guy you can count on, that you know is going to show up, you know is going to be there, even if he loses cool, will control it and handle it behind closed door, of course I'm going with Julian. One thing we know about Odell Beckham is he's going to give you a tremendous regular season. I'm talking Hall of Fame numbers. What we don't know about Odell Beckham is, can he win a playoff game?
It's fair.
What we do know about Julian Edelman, when the playoffs come around, he's going to be there.
It's a great answer.
Not only is he going to be there, he's going to be great in that game.
Great answer.
All right.
Number 1, bro.
Number 1 on my list.
Like, yeah. But who's number 1?
Here we go. The best wide receiver duo in the game today. The Green Bay Packers. I'm talking Jordy Nelson and Davante Adams. I know you're saying Davante Adams.
I want to hear this.
You're giving me the home improvement. No, listen. You got to think about what these guys have done this last season. I know I'm getting sassy. I got my hands on my hip and everything. Hey, listen. The numbers that they put up, we're talking about almost 2,300 yards. Jordy Nelson, 1,257, right? 14 TDs for Jordy. Once again, Jordy at the leader category in touchdowns in the league. Jordy's going to do that. He's going to get, when Jordy's healthy, he's going to give you a tremendous year. Double-digit touchdowns is easy. He's going to tap dance around 14, 15, maybe even 16 TDs. Davante Adams, you're thinking, hey, Davante, they got Randall Cobb, too. They got some playmakers. What are you talking? Who is Davante? You talking about, that one guy who was the number 4 and then kind of the number 3 and then made plays, so he might be the number 2 next year? No. Davante last year almost put up 1,000 yards, right? 997. So I'll give him that 3-yard bump and say he put up 1,000. Okay. But this is where you win me over. 12 TDs for Davante Adams. That means when Aaron Rodgers is dropping back, and he's saying, I got Jordy, Cobb, Oh, yeah, let me throw it up to the big boy. And Devontae was making plays. You catch 12 touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers. What do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do the following season? He's going to feed that target. So when you look at the combination of what they put up, almost 2,300 yards, and then the touchdowns, these guys had 26 touchdowns. The nearest to him is around 13, 14.
Like me.
I get it.
Sound like me playing fantasy football. We're not talking about
but
numbers,
here's the thing.
Right?
Yeah. Peter hates it when I do numbers, but in this case,
I'm listening to
but in this case, they put up great numbers, and we all know it's all about getting in the end zone. It's all about touchdowns in this league. But on top of that, they're returning with Aaron Rodgers. In KB's opinion, Aaron Rodgers could be the best quarterback in the game today, even with Matt Ryan being the MVP and Tom Brady being the greatest. So now you got two guys that put up 26 touchdowns, and you got a quarterback who said, I'm just starting the back nine of my career.
Or he doesn't have anybody else to throw to, so he zeroes in on those guys.
It is what it is.
Can I refute this? All right.
So here is my top
I like Jordy
five
Nelson. I thought he played through incredible pain. He's an admirable player. He's an all-pro, awesome guy. Devontae Adams has not proven as much as Jordy Nelson. My thing is this. If all things are being equal, and Aaron Rodgers has the truth serum on him, he loves Jordy Nelson, best friend, and you're telling him for this season, would you rather have Odell and Brandon Marshall as your number 1 and 2, or Devontae and Jordy? He's saying give me Devontae Adams and Jordy Nelson over Brandon Marshall, because that's how I look at it. It's not what the numbers were. It's who are the best duos on paper. And to me, Brandon Marshall and Odell Beckham are two future Hall of Famers, and they are.
I get it.
So you're saying you want to have a control, one quarterback, and who would be you take the quarterback out of the equation.
Pick one of these duos. Who you take?
Hey, listen, I get what you're saying, and I agree. You know how much of a fan I am of B. Marsh and Odell, but they say men lie, women lie, numbers don't. 26 TDs, I guarantee A-Rod is saying, I love OBJ, I love B. Marsh.
These are my guys.
But give me my guys.
Is Randall Cobb not the two?
It's all about red zone efficiency. The Giants struggled in the red zone. They brought Brandon Marshall to fix that. But Brandon Marshall only had 6 TDs last year. So now you take that in consideration. I love numbers. I love stats. I love all of that. But when it comes down to scoring touchdowns, you put up 26 TDs, you earn my respect. You earn everybody else's respect, and you're crowned the best duo in the NFL.